Hey, what's up, Roxstars? It's Rox, and I am coming to you today with a review for Claws Season 3, Episode 5 it is? I believe it is, you guys, so let's get to it. Shall we? Alright, you guys, so Desna's taking care of Roller, and, seems that they made a pretty comfortable home for themselves, okay? And Roller's even feeling like, maybe we need to cozy up the place and put some, leather Versace curtains up, and, and she was like, our place. Last time she checked, it was her place. But Roller was just like, if I'm gonna be here, then we're gonna make this thing official. Then we need to make it official. She was like, yeah, less than 2 years ago we was trying to kill each other. Now you trying to make it all official. Let's slow the roll a little bit, pump the brakes. You trying to move a little too fast. Now he tries to convince her that was then and this is now, but still no. Desna's not ready to take that step. She says she got to be sure, and then we get this dream sequence, which actually was oddly placed. I usually enjoy the little music interludes, the dream performances. This one was a la, I Need Love, LL Cool J, kind of gave you that sense. But it was of Desna and Roller, and I was just like, well, this is strange. Okay? But, it fits into the vein of Claws, so okay. Then we get back to reality. Desna's at the nail salon, and so random, Mack and Melba's been sending food over at the salon and hoping that everybody stays away. Desna was like, throw that shit out. Okay, I'm gonna figure out what to do with the casino. For now, though, you guys all need to stay away. Okay, Polly over there, fervently co-signing. I said, oh, Polly, you can't stay away from your boy Joe over there, now can you? Okay, but they don't know that she's still fooling around with Joe. So they start talking, and she's telling them how Roller, all of a sudden wants to shack up and make this shit official, and she ain't really feeling it. And they were like, well, what's the problem? You got daddy issues. That's why she don't trust Roller. No, I think it's because she has plenty of reason not to trust Roller. Roller did a whole lot of dirt to her ass. Okay, I don't know why people seem to forget that fact. Somebody brings up her daddy. Your daddy's a drug addict, right? And she says, well, he was, but now he's a big-time architect. They were like, really? Yeah, Desna's been following his career and everything. She just hasn't said anything. They tell her, well, maybe you need to go on and scope out your daddy. But nothing doing. Back at the casino, we see Virginia, she's trying to get Dean off of that mahjong table, and Dean is not getting off, okay? Only time he takes a little break is to get his 10 a.m. smoothie, and, she's just like, come on back to the motel, do you live here now? He was like, Mack has made it very comfortable for him there, and she was just like, well, don't you love me anymore? And he says, of course I love you, but you're being very, pathologically needy right now. I said, oh, goodness, isn't this, is this how you treat your woman, Dean? You really about to lose Virginia. You have no idea. Now, Bryce is fully in his bag, We healing folks, remember? That's his thing, He's loving the fact that he can talk to these people and help them through. In walks Uncle Daddy and Jen's mom. What's her name? Brenda. Bryce is like, oh, no. She can't be here, but Uncle Daddy don't give a damn. We got to help family. Okay, she's an angel, basically, and she's come to help and save and all of this. I said, Uncle Daddy, now you not sweet on old Brenda, are you? So Bryce was just like, look, I can't be around her, so it's either her or me. And Uncle Daddy was like, look, I'm going to give you an ultimatorium then. Either you can stay here and you can help the people, or you can get the hell on. Okay, well, Bryce gets the hell on. And that's when we see that Uncle Daddy is getting sweet on old Brenda. Tells Brenda that she reminds him of Auntie Mama. And I was like, oh, Lord, no, she does not. And who's listening but Toby? I said, Toby, you about to lose your man. You better, better put that motorcycle and that gun back to work. Now we go back to Desna. We see her meeting with Roller at the hamburger stand. And, Roller seems he's had some time to think about it. He said, what, I was tripping a little bit, putting too much on everything. I will pump the brakes. And she says, well, I was talking to the girls, and they all seem to think I have daddy issues, and I do know where my dad is, and he was like, well, maybe you should reach out and, talk to her, but she ain't really feeling that either. And he said, what, if I had the chance to talk to my dad today, I would take that chance. But you know what? Do what you got to do. All right, I'm going to talk to you later. So Desna does go and seek out her father. Okay, now one of the things that bothers me about Desna, and it used to be charming at first, but now by the time season 3 it's got to the point where it bothers me. Okay, Desna doesn't think anything through. She just does it. All right, and instead of reaching out to her father, she goes to her father's job. he's got the hard hat on. He's an architect, right? So he's at his site and he's looking at, and she just walks up to him and is just like, you don't recognize me? You know, I'm your daughter. Okay? And he's like, no, because the dad been gone all this time. You know, and I did feel sorry for the fact that she was hurt that he didn't recognize her, you know, and then immediately he was like, well, can we talk later? And no, she wants to talk now, but he's in the middle of work. Okay, and at least give the man that. I mean, you done already gave him to drop the bomb on him that you the damn daughter, you know? So that was like, okay, Desna, get out your feelings real quickly. Kind of understand the situation. And give the man a chance to deal with the fact that his daughter that's been gone, you know, that he abandoned for years and years is just resurfaced, and he got to figure out how to deal with that. So can he have the rest of his work day, please? But she's upset and she rushes off. Calls Dean, you know, of course Dean ain't answering the phone because he's too wrapped up in mahjong, and she's all crying, you know, you just need to call me, you need to call me back. Girl, he ain't calling me back. Because he's completely obsessed with mahjong, and Mack is making sure that he stays that way. But we find out that Mack actually has a certain like or even love for Dean. You know, he passes down something that his father had given to him. He gives it to Dean. So that is special, right? And Melba, she notices that, you know, this shit is a little too close. So she pulls Mack to the side and she was just like, look, okay, we was just using him to get to Desna. He said he's a nice kid, okay, and he's really good at mahjong. He could help the revenue in this casino. She said, you know it's nothing about revenue, okay? You need to find somebody else, okay? But Mack does care about Dean, and I said that might be the one saving grace when the season is over and something happens to Mack and Melba, because we already know what's coming, that Dean won't die in the process, too. Back at the salon, they're all tolerating this extra annoying white girl client who wants to be black. You know, she's on the phone, she's saying all kind of craziness, you know, they all just sort of like, ugh. Bryce is also there. He's getting a pedicure, and he's telling Jen how her mom showed back up at the clinic, and she was like, I knew I smelled Gina Tay. So now, of course, Jen is already irritated. And then the white girl who want to be black, you know, she's on the phone and she's dropping all these N-words and N-bombs. And Jen can't take it no more. She throw her ass out. She's like, white people! They working her fucking nerves. Roller, Melba. Then she starts thinking about herself. And, yeah, she is a white girl, but a different white girl. But she did lay her baby hairs down today. So, you know, maybe is she one of the ones that get on her own damn nerves? I was like, yeah. But anyway, Desna's telling them how she went to go see her dad, but, you know, he didn't want to be bothered. Virginia bust in and she was just like, Desna, you need to do something about your brother, okay, because he is a mahjong crackhead. You know, he don't come home, he stays at the casino the whole time. And Desna was like, I told his ass, okay. When is also Desna gonna realize that the fact that you keep on telling his ass, okay, and treating him like a child, yes, I know he's autistic, but obviously he's a functioning autistic autistic man, and he still realizes that you treat him like a child. Okay, so maybe it's time for you to tweak the way that you approach him, and she doesn't realize that because she's so fucking wrapped up in everything else. At the casino, we see Polly, you know, she's sneaking there. She's all fantasied out, you know, and she's going to have her little fantasy session with Joe, but Joe tells her that he wants to get to know the real Polly, you know, behind all the disguises and the fake voices and, you know, all of this. She tells him that when she's with him, you know, she feels like, you know, she doesn't feel so broken, and that scares her. But you can tell that Polly actually likes Joe too. Okay, Joe give her a necklace, you know, and they kiss and everything. I said, oh, what is this? I really don't know how to read Joe yet. Not quite sure what I should think about him. What y'all think about Joe? At the same time, we see Desna. She go busting into the casino. You know, they already said you ain't even supposed to be here because the security tried to put her out, but she's trying to get her brother. But Mack stops her and tells her that Dean is happy here, okay, and he resents you for trying to control his life. She was like, why the fuck are you even bothering with Dean? Like, you got the casino, you won. And he says, yes, and that trade-off also is the reason why you're still alive. So, throw her ass out. So, you know, Desna's still trying to tell Dean, you know, on the phone that Mack and Melba are no good, but Dean is not really going to listen, so she's frustrated. He don't even answer the phone. When she hangs up the phone, Jen comes and tells her that somebody's there to see her, and it's her father. Okay, now what are you doing here? How'd you find me? He was like, the same way you found me, I guess. She was just like, well, you can get the fuck out because she ain't got time for this right now. You know, and he was just like, wait a minute, you know, I know that I've been gone all this time, and, you know, I kind of dreaded this moment, you know, and she was just like, even more upset that he would say that. He says, no, hear me out, like, you know, he basically left and he didn't feel good about leaving. He was a drug addict, you know, he had his own problems. He wasn't helping nobody there anyway. And, you know, he left, but he always felt, I'm sure, guilty that he left his family like that. And she just was like, yeah, we was in foster homes and making it feel like, you know, it was always all our faults. And he's apologetic for that. And he says, you know I can't go back for the past time, but, you know, I really would like to try, you know, to get to know you guys now. And she says, well, good luck with Dean. You know, he ain't even talking to me. Okay, but you can go down to the casino and you can talk to him. You know, he's a Mahjong crackhead. I was just like, well, Desna, is that the best way to approach this? You know, throwing a man right at Dean? Another problem, a flaw that I'm kind of seeing with this season is, now the show has always moved very fast paced, but certain storylines seem like it's too fast-paced. Like this right here, this conversation that, like, I don't know if he would be going down to the casino to go talk to Dean and all of that. Like, yeah, we got all the time in the world to talk to your son, you know? So you telling me that you don't talk to him and all that. Like, I don't know if that day I would have been rushing down to talk to my son that I haven't even been around for 20 years at least, and he's autistic, he's, you know, it's just sort of like all this is happening, it just doesn't feel realistic, which is funny to say because nothing on the show is realistic, but you know, it's always been entertaining. But now it's just like, I'm just sort of like, but it's still my show, y'all. I'm sticking with it. I'm riding with it. But y'all see what I'm saying a little bit? So Daddy goes down to the casino. And, you know, Dean is at the table, Mahjong. And, well, it was smart for the daddy to at least go and sit down to him and not just be like, I'm your daddy. Okay. But that was a pretty good voice of him, too. Didn't I sound like him a little bit? He just sits down and he's playing the game next to Dean. And, you know, Dean is talking to him and they're talking about architecture. And, of course, he's distracted. So then Dean loses this round. And he was just like, ah! You know, that's completely thrown Dean off. You done fucked up my concentration. And that's why I lost this game. So I can't talk to you no more. Go away. So the dad, Calvin Sims, he calls Desna and lets her know what happened. So Desna rushes down to the casino. She gets in under disguise. I don't know how you can disguise a Desna, but when Dean is taking another break to get his little smoothie or whatnot, you know, she's like, Dean, this is our father. Dean is just sort of like not really processing this, you know, and he trying to get back to his game. He ain't really got time to be fucking around with thinking about his dad and all of that. He said, you told me that our dad was a drug addict and probably was dead in some alley somewhere. She said, no, this is our dad, okay, and he wants to talk to you. He ain't got time to talk right now. But Dad does know that Dean's love for architecture as well. So, you know, they start talking about architecture. And he says, you know, well, what if I could get you, you know, a tour of some sort of architectural museum or something that is closed to the public or, you know, hard to get in. And he was like, Dean was like, well, nobody has access to that. And he was like, I do. You know, my firm does. Okay, so now Dean wants to go. So they get to the museum, you know, they're talking and just their you know, their same love for architecture. And then once it's over, you know, Dean wants to rush back to the casino and Calvin was just like, you know, you don't want to, you know, get addicted to that basically. And Dean was like, I'm not smoking crack. Okay, I'm playing a game. And besides, you are not my father like that. You can't tell me what to do. And Desna was like, Dean. And he was but Dean was right. And so Calvin realized that too. Like, yeah, you're right. Okay, I can't tell you what to do. But, you know, he still wants to work on their relationship. So he invites them to an award ceremony that he's having later on that evening. You know, he would like for them all to come, you know, represent as his family. Now, let's jump back to Polly. Polly has found herself in trouble because, you know, her messing with Joe has brought out the fact that Joe and Yolanda, who was the accountant, remember the dirty accountant, they were having a relationship. So Yolanda catches Polly out in the parking lot at the nail salon and was just like, bitch, you gonna let me in on whatever the hell it is you and Joe got going on. You know, I know y'all got some scheme on the side. Okay, I want my cut. Otherwise, I am going to tell, because you guys know that nobody knows that Joe and Polly are seeing each other. Okay, so let me in or I'm gonna blow up the fucking spot. So now Polly is a little shaken up by that. So she goes back to the casino and she tells Joe, Yolanda came and told me that she wanted a cut of our little side thing or else she was going to tell on us. And he was just like, oh, don't worry about Yolanda. You know, she's more bark than bite, you know, but that didn't seem like Yolanda was really, Yolanda looked like she was about that bark and bite life. You know, and Polly, with all of her, you know, quick ways and very smart and manipulative and all of that, you know, Polly was gonna get fucked up by Yolanda. And I think Polly realized that. So, but Joe tells her, you know, oh, don't worry about her. He promises, don't worry about that girl. Now, Virginia, you know, she's filling in for Bryce. She's got her clairvoyant ways, and Bryce is not there anymore. Uncle Daddy needs somebody to work this. He ain't got the gift. And so she's there and she's talking to the drug addicts that's trying to get the help. And Brenda back there, you know, being very supportive to Uncle Daddy and, you know, telling them that he's doing the right thing and all of this. I was just like... Now, jumping back to Desna. Desna goes home after a good day with her dad. You know, she's happy. She's in good spirits. And Roller was like, see, I told you that, you know, reaching out to your dad would be a good idea. Okay, that's why you should stick with me. Okay? You know what, Roller? Maybe you are onto something. Okay, let's make this official. Okay, she done gave up that casino thing. She kind of ready to sit back and just work on her franchise, her nail salons, like that was the original plan. And you come on and move in, and we're gonna be a for real couple. You pay half these bills, and we gonna do this, okay? And Roller's all with it. Good things are finally happening for Desna, but we see Mack go over to Calvin's job. Mack is all giving him a wad of money. You stay away from Dean. He was just like, you're bribing me? He was like, yeah, you know, basically if you don't stay away, that's going to be your ass. And I was like, oh, child, Calvin, you don't know what you done got yourself wrapped up with your kids now. But evidently, Calvin don't take the money, because next thing we know, Mack is back at the casino and he's whining to Mel, but you know, he wouldn't take the money. I want Dean all to myself. Okay, and she was like, there. Okay, honey, don't you worry about it. Melba's going to take care of it. Okay, so then we see Calvin at some random diner having coffee, and Melba walks in and has a chance to spike his coffee with drugs. Acts like she dropped something, he tries to help her. But then I was just like, now how random is this? Now how will she know where he is? And then the fact that Melba, you know, Mack had already rushed back to the casino, like all this time had passed. Like, how close in proximity are these places? Am I thinking too much? Maybe I'm thinking too much into the story. But little things like this bother the writer in me. You know, that I just be feeling like, it still all has to be cohesive in the story. But whatever. She drugs his coffee. Okay. And, but he doesn't, unbeknownst to him, obviously. We see Polly. Polly was at the casino earlier, and she had to leave because she had to go meet with Yolanda. So she rushes over to Yolanda's house, you know, opens the door. Hey, Yolanda. Hey, girl. Hey, you know, it's Polly. I'm here to discuss, you know, what we was talking about. You know, Yolanda ain't saying nothing. I was just like, this ain't good. Okay, and when Polly round the corner, she see Yolanda hanging from the door jamb. And I was just like, oh, gosh. Joe, did you go and kill that girl? Okay. So then Polly rushes back to the casino because she got the same question. Joe, did you kill her? Joe was just like, well, I knew she was battling depression, you know, but I didn't know it would go here. And Polly is just listening like, okay. And the other chick, Penelope, okay, was she battling depression too? And he shakes his head, yes. Okay. Well, we know that she was killed. So Polly is just like afraid now. Oh, so you doing this shit, you know, for Mack and Melba. And he was like, it's okay, you know, just when, you know, when people get in their way. And she was like, well, what if I get in your way? You know, am I next? You basically like, nigga, get off of me, you know, stay away. You know, now all of a sudden she ain't too sure about Joe. I said, oh, Polly, heartbreak all in one damn episode. Jen and Bryce go back to the clinic, and it seems they've scheduled an intervention with Jen and her mom. Okay, this has gone on long enough. And even with Virginia being there, the clairvoyant, you know, she's able to tap into Jen's emotions and say, you know, I know that, you know, you just being angry about a lot of the things that happened to you as you was growing up, you know, and Jen brought up this one situation when the little boys was talking about her and said that she smelled like, you know, wet potato chips, and I was cracking up. You know, said all these bad things about her, and that her mom, you know, had to go and beat their ass the next day. You know, your mom loved you then the same way that your mom loves you now. Okay, and Jen has a breakdown because she does realize that she still loves her mom too. Okay, so now at least Jen and Brenda and Bryce and Uncle Daddy, you know, they can all be in one place together and be happy. But let's jump down to this special award ceremony. So like I said, Desna, Roller, Virginia, Dean, they are at this award ceremony as his special guests, and they're sitting there, they're proud, you know, and he's sitting up on the panel and they're presenting this award to him, and all of a sudden he starts acting crazy. Okay, Calvin, the dad. Desna was just like, he's high. Dean was like, I thought you said that he doesn't do drugs anymore. He said that he didn't. She thought that he didn't, but obviously he does. All right, so he get the acting up there, and then he says he's going to throw up, and he throws up all in her shoes, and they have to carry him out and all of that. So Dean, you know, he can't be bothered no more. He want to get back to the casino, and Virginia was like, no, let's go back to the, you know, hotel, and let's just be me and you. And he was like, look, I compartmentalized all of this that's gone on, you know, so that's, he ain't even thinking about that no more. He got to get to the damn casino. So while they in the lift, he wants the driver to take him back to the casino. She said, oh no, we're not going back to the casino. He said, pull this car over, you know, so I can get out and get another lift to the casino. Oh, this is also heartbreaking to see this little romance break up like this. But honey, Dean can't be bothered. Again, Virginia's left all alone, but not for long, y'all, not for long. And back at the salon, you know, Desna's there, and she's trying to tell the girls what happened and how she's so upset. Okay, we see Quiet Ann. She's in the other room. She done took a pregnancy test, child, and Quiet Ann is fucking pregnant. I said, girl, not by the man at the fucking sex party. I said, oh my God, Quiet Ann. I mean, y'all didn't have no, I mean, obviously they didn't have protection. You better be glad that you ain't got something else besides a baby on the way. But anyway, Quiet Ann comes out the room. She's about to tell them, you know, that she's pregnant, but she doesn't get a chance because Desna's father walks in, and he's just trying to explain, like, you know, she was just like, what are you doing here? You told me you was off the drugs. And he was like, I am, you know, I feel like something happened to me. So he starts telling them about the day and how, you know, some man came and tried to give him money to stay away from Dean, and she was like, that was Mack. And then he said, and then, you know, he went to this little, the cafe, and he was drinking coffee, and this woman walks up, you know, he tried to help her, and then you know, next thing he knew, you know, he was acting crazy at the award ceremony. And Desna was like, did she have an oxygen tank? And he says yes. And she was like, oh my God, none of this is your fault, I'm so sorry. He was like, who the fuck y'all wrapped up with? I mean, what I done got myself into? I said, honey, you done got yourself into a world of trouble. So she then calls Dean and tells him that Mack and Melba, you know, are not good people, and how they drugged Calvin, but Dean don't want to hear it. He hangs up on Desna, and Desna's like, that's it, you know, Mack and Melba done went far enough. They got the casino, now they got the family, you know, turning on me. And here goes that Desna that is always getting themselves in some harebrained, you know, just some trouble. She pulls out her gun. Roller was like, so you just about to go down to the casino with guns blazing? And yeah, that's not gonna work, Desna. But Desna don't listen, because Desna does what Desna wants, and then she got to have everybody else help her get out of the shit. Desna, you done got too old for this now. How long you gonna be doing this, girl? Alright, you guys, let me get off of here, get on back to work. You guys make sure that you rate, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I'm itsrox, the channel is for itsrox, and everything else I do will be in the bottom bar. Alright, so I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, and I plan on doing the same. Till next time, Roxstars. Bye.